So, I played Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer. No, this is not clickbait. No, I'm not making this up. I actually got flown out to Treyarch to play Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and see an entire presentation, and I am allowed to tell you a lot of stuff. Now, the downside is I'm not allowed to show any gameplay, but I can pretty much tell you all there is to know about multiplayer. Everything from the new movement system, prestiges, maps, weapons, score streaks, how create a class actually works. There is a ton of information they gave us, and that is what I can give you in this video. I have a ton to talk about today. This video is going to be multiplayer. In about an hour from now, we are going to have a campaign gameplay video going up, and then we are going to talk about zombies later on today. And then after that, as if that's not enough, 3 videos on this channel. There's going to be reaction videos to the trailers on the second channel. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be going live over on Twitch doing an AMA about Black Ops 6. You can ask me any questions that you have. If you want to check out my live stream, it'll be linked down in the description. Now, I have talked enough, so without further ado, let's get into all those juicy multiplayer details. So starting out, let's do the confirmations from the leaks yesterday. The Omni movement system is 100% a thing. It's a brand new movement system, and it's going to change the way Call of Duty is played. I'm going to dive into that one a little bit later because it needs a much bigger description. There is the classic prestige system returning, which is going to have 55 military levels. So you go all the way through 1 to 55. Once you hit 55, you have unlocked everything. Then you get the option whether or not you want to prestige. You can then prestige up to 10 times. And then when you complete that, there is a prestige master, which is going to go all the way up to level 1000. Each of the prestige having their own rewards. And then once you hit level 1000 in master prestige, there's redacted rewards. So we don't actually know what those are, whether they're camos, blueprints, calling cards, emblems. We don't know. They're redacted, but a ton of rewards along the way. And then of course, theater mode returns as well. So that's everything that was confirmed yesterday. Now let's go into the new stuff, starting out with multiplayer maps. So first of all, the multiplayer, they said this takes place directly after the campaign of the game, which takes place in the year 1991. So the multiplayer is going to be like 91 or 92 or something along those lines. There are 16 multiplayer maps at launch, 12 of which are 6v6 map, 4 of which are strike maps. So strike maps are small 6v6 maps. You can play 6v6 on them, but you can also play 2v2 gunfight on them, which by saying that, they pretty much confirmed that gunfight is going to be making a return as well. Now, they showed us a bunch of screenshots, and it was hard to tell which maps were which, but in the strike maps, they showed us one that was redacted. However, you could kind of make it out, and it appeared as though this map was actually a new version of Nuketown, which kind of looks like a version of Nuketown that was hit with a sandstorm in the middle of a desert, which would fit with the Gulf War being the setting for it. So maybe that is coming back, but it certainly looked like it. Now, some other maps that they confirmed for us is one called Skyline, which is basically a super rich person's mansion. And it's actually the image that you are seeing here is that map. There's also Derelict, which is in the Appalachians, and it is a train graveyard. And then there's the Pit, which is a strike map. So in other words, one of the smaller maps. And this one kind of looked like it was in like a quarry or a mine or something along those lines. So that's what we know for maps. Next up, moving into perks and something new called Combat Specialist. So the way that this works is I'm actually going to show it to you in MS Paint. Oddly, I think it'll make it easier. So this is the perk system. I know it's super janky, but just hear me out. So inside of perk 1, you are going to have green perks. These are going to be multiple different types of green perks, and these are called enforcer perks. Now, each of these is also going to be in perk 2. On top of that, the green perks are also in perk 3. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. Editor Inkslasher just coming in. I just wanted to make it clear that each of these perks are different. So the perk 1 green perks are different than the perk 3 green perks. Now, on top of that, also inside of perk 1, you're going to have other perks that are blue perks. These perks are going to be recon perks. So they are also in perk 1, 2, and 3, but they are different, kind of. So each of these perks kind of goes with a playstyle. So enforcer, then you have recon, and then we have red perks. These ones are specialist perks. So these are, again, a different type of perk, but they are in each perk slot. So just like most Call of Duty games, we have 3 perk slots with a bunch of different types of perks, but each of them are colored. So let's say I go in and I choose 3 different perks. So I choose a green perk, I choose a blue perk, and I choose a red perk. I would not get a combat specialist. However, if I chose a green perk, a green perk, and a green perk, then I all of a sudden get a green combat specialist. So this is essentially a fourth perk that I get for just using the green perks. This perk for the green perks for the Enforcer class happens to be when you get a kill, it speeds up your movement temporarily, and on top of that gives you immediate healing. So the same thing would happen is if you chose all blue perks, then you would get the blue specialist ability, which I actually don't know what it was. And same with red perks, so on and so forth. Now, the two other things that we know about classes is that there is also wild cards that are returning. So in the past, it would give you, for example, one extra perk that you could use, or it would give you extra attachments on your weapon, or an extra attachment on your secondary, things along those lines that normal perks don't do. So yes, wild cards are returning. Also, you will always have a melee weapon on you. So you actually have to pull it out to use it, but these can be various different things. We've seen this before in Call of Duty. I think Modern Warfare Remastered was the first game to do this, where you could always have your melee weapon out. Now we can next move into our characters. So these are different than your single player characters, and you will see that. So there's two different factions. There's your rogue Black Ops operators. So these ones are the Black Ops operators that have gone rogue. This is going to play into the campaign and the story, which we are going to go to in the next video. There's also a faction called the Crimson One. These are just another faction. That doesn't necessarily mean they're bad guys, just another faction. So in the rogue Black Ops characters, we have Marshall, who is actually one of the characters from the campaign, Yara, Bayan, West Point, Nazir, and Ratcliffe. That name may seem familiar. They didn't say that he was in the campaign, but the rumors were that he was. We'll have to wait and see. Then we have the Crimson One, which is Legio, Kane, Stone, who you may recognize from Black Ops Cold War, Nerian, Bailey, and Volta. So again, these aren't necessarily campaign characters, but these are operators starting out. Moving into weapons, they stated that at launch, there is going to be 12 brand new weapons that have never been in a Call of Duty game before. And based off of the information that we were given, Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons will not be available within Black Ops 6. However, they will be available in Warzone. Now, I don't want to say that 100% because I'm sure it's willing to change, but from what we heard, that is what they were doing. So things will carry over into Warzone, but not carry over into Black Ops 6. Now, out of 12 new weapons, they didn't give us all 12 new weapons, and in fact, they gave us some returning weapons, but some examples of weapons that they gave us were the Amy's 85, the Jackal, the XM4, the Marine Shotgun, the Compact 92, the SVD, and the 9mm PM. We also got some examples of equipment, one of which was called a spring mine, which was essentially 4 claymores zip tied together with a spring in the middle, in other words, a bouncing Betty, but it's kind of cobbled together because that is the theme of Black Ops 6, if you haven't figured it out. Black Ops agent goes rogue, they can't use their normal military equipment, so they got to kind of figure out their own way. We also have the RCXD that is returning. We have a new field upgrade called Warcry. Essentially what this is it gives your teammates within a certain radius a boost. They didn't say whether it was like a health or a damage boost, but a boost in that area. Another one is called the Signal. I don't remember whether it was Boomer or Booster. And basically what this does is it shows all of the enemies your location on the minimap. And in a certain amount of time, if you kill enemies, it's going to give you more score. So more for that solo style player. And the last one is the Spy Camera. This one, when you use it, it allows you to tag enemies for your teammates to see. So I think this one would be better in something along the lines of Search and Destroy. So then we will get into the Omni movement, and on top of that, animations and things like that. So Omni movement, this thing is crazy. And again, we're going to go back to MS Paint. So, all right, we are playing Call of Duty, and there is an object that we are going to walk around. That is going to be our object. Now, say we want to run around this object. The way that we would currently do it in Call of Duty is we would go up this way, and we would have to face forward because you are running forward. And then if we wanted to turn right and sprint over to the other side, you would have to turn 90 degrees, face this way, and run that way. Same thing if you're going back, and same thing if you are going back to where you started. So that is how you would traverse that area. However, in Black Ops 6, we will make it orange for Black Ops 6. We can run up forward, and then when you get to here, you can keep facing this way, and go to your side, so in other words, strafing to your side at the pace of a sprint. And then you can keep facing forward and go backwards, again, in a backward sprint, and then go around the other side, still facing the same way, but sprinting all of the way. So the whole time, if there is an enemy over here, you could be facing that enemy while sprinting at the same time. But it's not just sprinting. In fact, if you are doing this, you can dolphin dive in any direction. So you can kind of dolphin dive to the side, jumping over to the side, dolphin diving that way. You can, not so much dolphin, but you can dive backwards. So you can jump backwards away from someone and dive and shoot them. Or you can dive to the other side, or you can still dive forward. That's not it either. This part didn't get leaked. So you can also slide in any direction. So you can slide to the side while you are shooting. You can slide in a direction. You can slide backwards. You can slide forwards. You can slide to the side. So you can sprint in every direction, dive in every direction, and slide in every direction. Now, you are not going to understand this until you actually play it. And for some reason, I can't give you my impressions of it, but based off of what we saw, this changes Call of Duty a lot. This is the biggest change to movement that we saw with the pogo stick movement in Advanced Warfare, but this makes so much more sense because it is realistic and fluent. Fluent is really the biggest word that they used, and I could use as well, because you are constantly moving. You can constantly be sprinting and constantly sliding and moving your way around in a fluent way, a way that makes sense. Yes, this is going to change the way that Call of Duty is played, and I'm really hoping it's in a good way. It's going to take a little bit to get used to though, but it should speed things up quite a bit. Now, moving into some smaller things, some animations have been updated. So they changed the amount of hit zones on a body, not for different damages, but for the way that a player reacts. So for example, if I have a sniper and I shoot an enemy in the leg, they're going to drop down on that leg and die. If you have a sniper and you shoot them in the head, they're going to fly backwards from their head. In other words, improving the ragdoll effects. They have also added a new feature, and this one is hard to explain, where after you die, it doesn't just give you a stagnant camera on your dead body. If you go flying, if an explosion goes off, you're going to ragdoll because of all those hit zones, and the camera is going to follow you ragdolling. It's really hilarious, and I think it's a fun addition. But not just that, they're adding in two other features that you've probably seen before in Call of Duty, one of which is play of the game. In other words, if you get like a 5-man feed, you're probably going to get the play of the game, and the other one is the winner circle. So the top 3 players in the game, it'll display their score, display their character, things along those lines. Again, we've seen that one before. And the final one is the UI and the HUD. So the UI, we know that it is using the Call of Duty HQ. They said that they're improving it. They are making find a match one button. So you press it, and then a menu will open up, and you can pick your game mode from there. That's essentially all we know about that one. And then the HUD, this one's kind of cool. You can actually customize your own HUD. So normally, in the top left-hand corner is where you would find your mini-map. In this game, you can put it in the top left corner, the top right corner, or the bottom, or even the middle of your screen if you really want to. You can change where your ammo is displayed. You can change all of these things, which I don't think has ever been done before in a Call of Duty game. There's just a little bit of customization that they've added in there as well. And I think that is it. I think I covered all of the multiplayer stuff that they showed us. I know it was a lot, and hopefully I kept you informed as quickly as possible and in ways that made sense thanks to MS Paint. But again, if you have any questions, I'll be streaming tonight. Make sure you follow me on Twitch. Link down below. When I go live, you'll be notified, and you can ask me any other questions you have. 2 more videos going live today. We got campaign, we got zombies, so stay tuned for those. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, have notifications on, and as always, see you in the next video, which is in an hour. Until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars.